Hey again, everybody. Joe here. Thanks for tuning in. I'm here with my friend Mark. We just finished one match where I played against his blue-red Eldrazi deck, and he wants to run it back since since I won the last one 2-0. I got pretty good draws. They lined up really well against the cards that he was bringing. In the last game though, game 2, he resolved 2 Ancestral Visions, drawing 6 extra cards, and still couldn't get there, which I was pretty proud of. This hand is ultra clunky, and if I was on the draw, I might consider it. Probably not, but on the play, I absolutely cannot even think about keeping this. So I'm going to mulligan, and this is a much better hand. Okay, fantastic. I mulliganed to 6 in game 1, last match also, and managed to win. So I'll keep, and I'm going to scry the top card. It's a Mutavault. So this is a very similar decision, actually, to the first game. I had a turn 1 Ether Vial, and I chose last match to scry an island to the bottom. In this case, though, Mutavault is a body and a land, so I'm going to keep that on the top. I like Mutavaults. Okay, so we'll go to my first main phase, play our wonderful Ether Vial, and see if Mark has a traditional explosive Eldrazi opening. Though I think without Eye of Ugin, those crazy explosive 4-creature openings have become a thing of the past. I think at most he can play something like an Eldrazi Mimic or something like that. So we see a Scalding Tarn, which means he does probably play some islands in the deck, which is very exciting for me, since I play creatures that like Island Walk. Everybody here only requires 1 blue. We're not going to need access to a lot of double blue since we'll have Ether Vial on 2 next turn, so I'll go ahead and lead with Mutavault here. I'll play Silvergill, revealing Marrow Regery. I don't think Eldrazi plays Spell Snare, so I'll resolve Silvergill and draw into another Mutavault, which is decent because it'll allow me to play Master of Waves, and Master of Waves pumps Mutavaults, so things are going okay so far. It'd be really wonderful if we drew a 2-drop next turn to use Ether Vial. Island Walk is available now if we draw an Island Walk Lord. I haven't seen Mark play any islands yet. Reality Smasher, what? Alright, so I know that he has a Reality Smasher. He put the wrong card down. Okay, so at the very least next turn, we'll have access to Marrow Regery. Without Eldrazi Temple, we can see that this is a really slow start for Mark's deck. That Reality Smasher is going to be at least 2 turns away. If he plays an Eldrazi Temple next turn, he only has access to 4 mana and something like a Thought-Knot Seer. Now, we realized in the last match that Harbinger of the Tides is exceptionally strong in this matchup. Mark knows I have the Regery in hand. We draw another island. Potentially he's leaving up Lightning Bolt here to deal with my Regery. I'm going to start by attacking with the Silvergill, possibly. Lightning Bolt is going to be no good against Master of Waves, but there's going to be no way to save Regery from Lightning Bolt, and if we choose instead to attack with Mutavault this turn, he's going to bolt the Mutavault, slowing us down on getting Master of Waves onto the battlefield. So I'll go ahead and attack with Silvergill now. Thinking about whether he wants to bolt my Silvergill. This is a strange decision. I guess he's trying to stay off of damage. Potentially he has multiple Lightning Bolts in hand. Go to our second main. Play out. So there's something worth noting here, that if I plan to play Master of Waves next turn, there's nothing to be gained from playing a second Mutavault right now, because I'm going to be tapping out my lands right now anyway. But if I draw into something like an Island Walk Lord, I might want to have, or a Silvergill with Ether Vial, might then draw an Island Walk Lord, and maybe I want to play that with 2 islands. But I'll be in any event, I think I have enough blue sources in hand that I can safely go ahead, just put Mutavault on the table here, and cast Merfolk. If Mark has another Lightning Bolt, that's sort of okay. We're okay with Eldrazi playing really slowly. It's supposed to be an explosive aggro deck, not really a controlling deck. So maybe he has a Dismember in hand to use with Cavern of Souls, but he's going to go ahead and untap and draw a card. I've drawn maybe 1 too many lands this game. Some Silver Gills or Spreading Seas would be nice to draw us into some more cards, get some more devotion. Any 2-drop would be nice next turn to get more devotion for Master of Waves. Okay, with 3 mana, we see another Lightning Bolt. That's fine. And still no creatures. So we'll go ahead and draw. We drew another Master of Waves, which is quite nice. I was considering briefly at just attacking with the 2 Mutavaults, but we'll go ahead and play Master of Waves, who can get hit by Dismembers, but can't get hit by Lightning Bolts. And I think maybe Dismember is only sideboard action for Mark. It would really stink if he got to resolve a Thought-Knot Seer here. I really want to get this second Master of Waves on the table. So we haven't been able to use our Ether Vial at all this turn. Sorry, this game, which is frustrating. We have many, many 2-drops in the deck. But with us drawing into 4-drops and 3-drops and lands, it just means that there's going to be a nice little dense zone of 2-drops coming up here. Alright, so next turn, depending on what Mark plays here, well, there's his 4th land, and I don't doubt that he has the Thought-Knot in hand. Oh, so it's just a Reality Smasher. So that's fine. We're going to go down to 15. Next turn we'll have a lot of power where we can block that guy if we want to. Okay, I'm going to leave this on 2 again, and hopefully we'll draw a 2-drop for more devotion. Ugh, I wasn't specific enough. Grr. Alright, so interesting decisions to be made here. I can attack with 2 Mutavaults as 3/3s and push what looks like 10 damage this turn. It's really threatening. Or I can play a Master of Waves, create 2 more 3/2 tokens, attack with just a 3/2 and this for 5 this turn, and with 3/3s, let's see, that would put him down to 14, and the following turn I would be attacking with 4, 8, plus 4 is 12, plus 9. Alright, one more time. 8 plus 4 is 12, plus 9 is 21. That's a lot of damage. Still have a lot of Island Walk guys. Spreading Seas is not particularly useful here because we already have Island Walk. So attack with the Mutavault. No, I think the plan is to continue to develop my board and still presenting sort of overkill lethal next turn. Okay, so this guy becomes a 3/2. I'm going to go ahead and copy that guy twice and attack for 5. If we choose to block next turn, we'd still have 8 plus 4 is 12, 15 for lethal. He did have to exile a Spirit Guide last turn to play Reality Smasher. He takes 5 damage going down to 14, and we'll see what he can do this turn. Thought-Knot Seer is not as amazing anymore. It's just going to take a Spreading Seas out of my hand, though Spreading Seas could be pretty nice next turn if I choose to play it, drawing me into another card. Alright, what is Mark's play here? Ruination Guide. So this guy is going to become a 6/5. If I block, I'll take 1 more trample damage. Okay. So this guy's going to become a 6/5, and it's looking as if Mark has no way to interact with. So he's attacking with Reality Smasher. We're nowhere close to dying, and it looks like he might only have something like a bolt to take us off of one of our elementals. If we block and lose 2 elementals and he takes us off of another elemental with a lightning bolt, he has to pay 1 life to do so, going down to 13. That means we can attack for 8, plus 4 is 12, and he could live another turn. So I think we're just going to take 6 here. We're going to go down to 9. Okay, well, he slow rolled a second land. I don't know what that represents exactly. Okay, El Shmazi, and I think we might be smooth sailing here. Maybe we'll draw an Island Walk Lord. We do. So in this case, I think we're going to go ahead and just put this guy on the table. Okay, that guy will go over there. Make these guys 3/2s. Spreading Seas is totally unnecessary. I'll activate my Mutavaults. Just in the interest of saving time, I'll tell him that they're 5/5s. And attack with everybody. So I don't know if he realizes that I have Island Walk, but we have 16 power just of Island Walk. Okay, so Mark concedes. Just like last game, I'm just going to run with the main deck. So no graveyard stuff, no green and red creatures, not enough non-creature spells or instants to worry about bringing in counter spells, and certainly no artifacts. So we can go ahead and start the game. Mark's going to start on the play. And, Now, as I said last game, Harbinger is really, really strong in this matchup. Without Ether Vial, Master of Waves is sketchy here since we only have 2 lands. But being on the draw with Dismember, we can deal with Thought-Knot Seer. Reality Smasher is a bit more of a pain in the butt since we have to discard a card if we want to kill that guy. This is a really interesting hand. Harbinger is wonderful against Reality Smasher. But it's pretty tricky. We can see another instance here of Seagate Wreckage possibly being better as a blue source. But if we were running 19 lands, Seagate Wreckage would be another spell and would make this an absolute mulligan. We've been running really hot against Mark. Seems like we have a lot of game. Island Walk is some of the time, at least, naturally available since he plays Steam Vents. Dismember gives us some time. And Harbinger is really good. I'm going to keep. I'm going to gamble. Okay, looks like he doesn't have anything too explosive to start with. We draw a Silvergill Adept, which is really nice because that can potentially draw us into more lands, more blue sources. So we're going to start here by revealing a Silvergill and leaving this untapped just in case we need to use the Dismember. So that just goes to show that when we're trying to draw into lands with a blue and colorless 2-land opener, we also have decent draws in Spreading Seas and also Silvergill Adepts to continue to accelerate card draw and allow us to hit our land drops in a reasonable fashion. Okay, so Island Walk is not online here, and Mark is playing really slowly. So the play here is clearly Seagate Wreckage into Silvergill, revealing a Lord since he probably assumes that we have some number of Lords already, and then we draw a Spreading Seas, which, again, is okay. We're both playing pretty slowly here. He knows that we have this Lord. We have a Dismember to deal with anything that might be threatening. Okay, no Eldrazi Temples yet. He continues to hit regular slow lands. I feel that I can compete against this. I'm going to have another draw step to hit an island for my third turn. He plays Herald of Kozilek. What does that guy do? Colorless spells cost 1 less to cast. I might want to dismember this guy next turn. Let's see if I draw land. We don't yet, but we still can. I'm going to go ahead and play Spreading Seas on his mountain. Actually, on his... we might want to take him off of some of his access to colorless. But no, I think hitting red is okay. Okay, we're not hitting our lands here. This guy is a 2/4 by himself, and now he's going to be able to ramp. Really unfortunate that I didn't hit a land there. We can go ahead and discard one of our Master of Waves. This shows, the potential downside of keeping this kind of a hand. But we do have 2 Harbingers. Bouncing this guy would be just fine. Gemstone Caverns, if it's not in your hand. You can tap to add colorless. Okay, well, so it's just a colorless land. So he plays one of these guys because colorless spells cost less. So this guy now just costs 1 red, which is fine. He tapped this for blue, for red and blue, and this for red. This guy's power and toughness, his power is equal to the number of colorless creatures he controls. So it's 3, and he has trample. And when he hits me, he can exile the top card of my library. I'm going to take 2 damage. At this point, drawing into blue land, a blue land would be great because I can dismember and also bounce something with a Harbinger. Oh, this has been an interesting game so far. We didn't get to see either of these 2 cards in his deck in the last match that we played. Okay, well, Curse Catcher is not amazing, but we will go ahead and play a Curse Catcher, and I think this guy makes everything so cheap, but this guy's pretty big, and we're going to be taking damage from Dismember, so we need to watch our life totals. So I'm gonna hit this guy, go down to 14, and we could still get there if we hit blue land. This is pretty slow stuff from Eldrazi, but I have a feeling he's got some more powerful creatures coming up. He has access to enough mana, enough resources to play any of the big guys. Okay, so he's attacking for 4. I'm going to go down to 10. That's okay. It looks like Reality Smasher's not coming this turn. And what's he going to follow that up with? Nothing. Very strange. Echoing Truth is really solid. We're going to play that now instead of... or do we do it during his upkeep? Is there any difference? Maybe I can attack. Okay, so he's going to take 3. That's pretty solid. And I don't know why he didn't play anything. If he had a land, he would have played it. If he had a creature, he would have played it. So I don't see the downside to Echoing Truth, casting Echoing Truth now. If you do it on his upkeep, it doesn't make a big difference. So just go ahead and bounce this guy, these guys. Okay, so there they go. Gives us a little bit more time. We know 2 of the cards that he has in his hand now are Heralds of Kozilek. Alright, so it looks like one of these guys is coming back out, maybe? And I feel like I'm getting entirely too much time this game off of these 2 pretty pathetic lands. There it is. Hallelujah. Alright, since this guy's not tapped yet, we're going to go ahead and play a Island Walk Lord, make our guys bigger. He might have a Dismember, but we'll just use Curse Catcher. And him taking 4 damage to cast Dismember here would be pretty nice, I think. Okay, well, I guess he's thinking about it. Pretty silly. Who's he targeting? Okay, Mark. That's getting countered. Oh, okay. Simian Spirit Guide. Wow. The blowouts. Alright. Well, there we go. It happens. Alright. Well, if this guy... And now we know what some of the garbage cards in his hand were. Simian Spirit Guides. So at least we have our access to blue mana here. We can start using Harbingers, but he might be coming with Reality Smashers now. Okay, another Herald of Kozilek. Is he going to attack for 2? Oi. Yeah, he can't do that. He still needs blue and red to cast the second one. Wait, I mean the third one. So I'll take 2 damage, go down to 8. Really strange game from Mark here. Well, that's not terrible. We can play a Harbinger, bounce this guy, keep treading water, play an Ether Vial. I mean, we're getting deader and deader to Reality Smashers. I mean, we should have been dead a long time ago. That Simian Spirit Guide was a bit of a blowout. I should have realized that Mark is a better player than to cast Dismember into Curse Catcher. Okay, so he plays this guy out again. And seems like he's not hitting any lands. Okay, the Vial Aggregate comes back out. I'm going to take 2. Now, a land would be good for Master of Waves. We have to watch out for this guy, this Trample guy. Silvergill could draw us a land, could help us get back in this game. Harbinger of the Tides puts 2 mana, 2 devotion on the table, but he's gonna be pushing with these guys next turn, and I'm gonna have to do some chump blocking probably. He's still at 12 life, which is pretty comfortable. If we can get to the next turn with Ether Vial on 2 counters, it would be pretty huge. I think the correct play here is to bounce this guy with Harbinger to keep him off of having so much power on the board to come at me with next turn. And we'll follow up with whatever we can follow up with. Alright, so we're going to play Harbinger. I'm going to draw an arrow to this fool. And we have no attacks. So let's see what Mark has on this turn. As I've mentioned, we've just been treading water this entire game. Ether Vial is going to give us a decent turn next time. We're not going to have lethal attacks next turn, unless Mark decides to play another Dismember right now and goes down to 8. That could be exact lethal next turn. Actually, it wouldn't be, because we wouldn't have the creature on the table. Alright, so tapping 2 mana to play this guy out again. Feel pretty good about that. This guy is still a 3/5. If he attacks, I'm just going to take all of it. I don't want to lose any of my creatures right now. Master of Waves wants to make a lot of tokens. We're going to have Silvergill to have 2 chances at land draw. Go down to 1. He might be slow rolling a mountain to lightning bolt me and close the game out. Okay, that's fine. So he lightning bolted us for the kill. Next turn would have been an island, which would have been great. But fair game to Mark. He should have won that a little bit quicker. We should have lost it a lot faster. It was a really risky keep, and in retrospect, I think I learned my lesson. It's funny how close we were to getting there. If he didn't have that extra lightning bolt in his hand, we would have absolutely stabilized next turn. Drawing that island, we could have played Silvergill and 2 lords. Actually, let's think about this. We could have played 1 lord and then Master of Waves with 7 tokens, and that would have been the turn. And we could have attacked with our guys with Island Walk. Yeah, it would have been a 2-turn clock. All right, this is excellent. I don't think I can lose with this hand, especially on the play. This is a pure gas Merfolk hand. Okay. Okay, so he's, let's see. If it's in his opening hand, he's not playing first. He may begin the game with Gemstone Caverns on the battlefield with a luck counter on it. He has to exile a card from his hand. But this now can add any color of mana to his mana pool. Okay, so he exiled Scalding Tarn. So he's keeping, but with 5 cards in his hand now. I'm going to start with Wanderwine Hub into Curse Catcher. It's possible he has like an Eldrazi Temple for that really fast opening. Maybe a Sky Spawner on turn 1. Shivan Reef. Okay, so still only access to 2 mana, and he just passes the turn. He has access to 2 colorless sources now, and this one makes any color of mana. So Spreading Seas is slow here. We're going to attack with Curse Catcher. Takes 1. We'll go to our second main, and we're going to play Silvergill here to increase our board presence and reveal an Island Walk Lord. We have 3 of them. I'm going to draw a card. Okay, a land is going to be nice off the top of the deck if it hears me knocking. I'd really like another blue land next turn. Okay, so Mark still only has access to 3 mana here. Maybe a Sky Spawner. Vile Aggregate. It's a 1/5 trample creature. Extremely frightening. Okay, well, we drew a Curse Catcher. Now in this spot, we might just want to play 2 Curse Catchers. It's an interesting situation. If we play Spreading Seas, it can draw us into a land, and establish Island Walk, which is really nice. But playing 2 Curse Catchers gets a really nice board presence. Establishing Island Walk or playing 2 creatures. Well, if we don't play Spreading Seas and he plays Thought-Knot Seer, he might take the Spreading Seas away. The Curse Catchers are redundant. My Island Walk Lords are redundant. My Island Walk effect is not redundant. He doesn't have, well, this gives him access to any color, so he's going to have access to red. So we might just want to take him, well, this is tricky. He has lots of mana. He has all of his colorless mana that he needs. We need to dig into lands, and we need Island Walk, so I'm going to go ahead and cast Spreading Seas now on this guy, since it can make any color. I'm going to have him keep taking damage off of this land. Okay, well, we hit an Ether Vial. It's slow, but it's at least some source of mana. Okay, I have a feeling this is a Thought-Knot Seer. That's fine. He's going to see all the gas that I have. I can start putting the pedal to the metal next turn by playing Island Walk Lords. Actually, I might want to get Ether Vial online and play 1 Curse Catcher. It's slow, but it's going to help me ramp faster. I don't really want this Thought-Knot Seer. Like, if he has multiple Thought-Knot Seers. Alright, so Lord. Takes my Lord away. Pretty sad. I guess he's going to attack with this aggregate thing. Since he knows I don't have any Harbingers in hand. I'll go down to 18. And he's going to pass the turn, I'm sure, whenever he's ready. Okay. Now, we have to draw a land here. Come on. Yes. Alright. So the play. What is the play? Do we just commit creatures now that we have lands? We can play Lord and Curse Catcher, and next turn play Lord and Curse Catcher. That seems decent to me. Yeah, I think that's the play. I think we need to apply pressure. Okay, so these guys are all going to get bigger. So it's totally possible that he has another land and a Reality Smasher next turn, which we can't really do too much about. If he plays Reality Smasher, he's going to be tapping out his mana. This guy will be a 3 and 4 and 5. That's, 12 damage. I'll go down to 6. He's going to go down to 14 this turn. And if I play this Lord, I'll have 4 plus, that's 10, and I think 13? 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9, plus 4 is 13. Oh, it's so close. All right, well, have to do what we have to do. Okay. It goes down to 14. So land into Reality Smasher is really rough. If he has another Thought-Knot Seer, it's slower, but he takes away my Master of the Pearl Trident. Thought-Knot Seer is much less frightening because we can always just chump this guy. He doesn't have Trample. It looks like he doesn't have a land to play. Okay, Ruination Guide is not super terrible. Doesn't give anything Trample. Colorless creatures are getting plussed. So this is 5 and this is 4. We have no blocks. We go down to 9. The clock increases. And we'll have to leave up some blocks in the following turn. It's possible Mark has Lightning Bolt with Simian Spirit Guide backup, but with 3 cards in hand, we can't really play around that. We draw into a 4th land, which is decent, especially as an attacker. Let's see. We can go ahead and play the 2nd Lord. Maybe better to play the Curse Catcher first. But we already have 2 of them on the table. I was thinking it's possible we want to leave Mutavault up for blocks, but as a 4/4, he can trade with the Thought-Knot Seer and draw us a card. As I was mentioning, if we just push damage this turn, we can come in for 13, which is really close. Take him off of. This is really tricky. I think we're going to play the Curse Catcher here because he can chump block as well as the Mutavault. Mark's thinking now maybe if he wants to use his Lightning Bolt with Simian Spirit Guide. That combo is pretty gross, but I think we would just let it resolve. We'll let the Lightning Bolt resolve. We can't try to sacrifice 2 Curse Catchers. We're still going to have to chump block a little bit next turn. The Curse Catchers are our best option for chump blocking. This Mutavault is going to be an extra attacker. We'll still have Island Walk online. If Mark has 2 Lightning Bolts and a Simian Spirit Guide in hand, that's pretty nuts. He can also draw into a land and play Reality Smasher. He's thinking really hard about this. Now, okay, let's think about this. If he casts Lightning Bolt and gets rid of Simian Spirit Guide, he's gonna hit this guy. Okay, well, if we sacrifice and he has one Simian Spirit Guide, we can sacrifice the other one. This turn, we can still attack for 7. If he has 2 Simian Spirit Guides, it's a huge blowout. If he hits the Lord, our clock goes down. This is 2. 4 plus 3 is 7. The clock is still good enough as long as he doesn't have 2 Lightning Bolts. So I think we can keep... this is so tricky. Maybe he was representing that he had the Simian Spirit Guide. Alright. Can he have 2 Simian Spirit Guides in his hand? Okay, if I try to counter, he has 1, it's good. If I try to counter again, he has 2, we get blown out. But if he only has 1, we'll sack both Curse Catchers and we can attack for 7 this turn. Curse Catcher can block the Thought-Knot Seer, and we should be okay on damage. If it resolves, again, we can push 7 damage this turn and have a chump blocker up next turn. And we have multiple Curse Catchers up to counter things next turn if necessary. If we let the Lightning Bolt resolve, assuming we're going to chump block something, we'd have another 7 damage plus Mutavault. Okay. I don't want to get blown out. It's possible that he just mind gamed me right there, and so we'll knock everybody's power and toughness down. And we're going to attack with, now this guy doesn't have trample. He does have ingest, but that doesn't scare me right now. Thought-Knot Seer is 4, but no trample. This guy has trample, but he's not that big. If he plays Reality Smasher, it's going to be a lot of trample damage, and we can, if all else fails, we can always chump block with the Master. Actually, let me think. So if we attack with just the 2 Curse Catchers here with Island Walk, he goes down to 9. That gives us access to blocking with Silvergill, Curse Catcher, and Master next turn if he tries to push a lot of trample. Now if he has no effects next turn, and we just we chump block Thought-Knot Seer with a Curse Catcher, take 3, maybe 4 damage off of this guy, 3 off of this. We'll have 3 Curse Catchers to try to counter a Lightning Bolt, and we'll still have, this will be 3 and 3 and 8. That's only 8 damage. If we push 4 this turn, he's at 9. All right. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of cards to work with, so it's going to take 7. Goes down to 6, and we might as well play this Ether Vial out. We can't block with Mutavault anyway. And we're going to see what Mark draws. I have no cards in hand for Thought-Knot Seer to take away. Now if he has a Lightning Bolt and we chump the Thought-Knot Seer and take 6, that's pretty sad. But we can't play around everything. This is actually working out to be the by far the closest game in the 2 matches that we've played today. He's thinking pretty hard, which makes me feel okay about my chances. If he has a bolt, that's really rough for us because he can use it right now in his main phase on our Lord. We can't really sack all of our Curse Catchers. That just eliminates our board, leaving just a Silvergill and a Mutavault. And it would leave just 1 blocker. We might get to live the turn, but we wouldn't have anything. We wouldn't have lethal next turn, even if we drew an Island Walk Lord in that case. 3 mana for Herald. Okay, so things cost less. Aggregate becomes a 4/5. It's possible he has Bolt here. So we're going to go ahead with our plan to chump the Thought-Knot Seer with Curse Catcher and take 7, going down to 2. Looks like Mark is thinking about this. Oh yeah, he's right. So we take one more. I'm glad that that wasn't lethal, because this guy makes him bigger. So it's 5 and 5 attacking. So does he have a gut shot in hand? Probably not. All right, so it looks like we got there. That was really, really tense. Mark is frustrated, but when you play 5 drops, oh, I see. Harbinger. What did he use? Simian Spirit Guide from the top of his library. That would have allowed him to play Reality Smasher. Let's ask him. So what do you think about Blue-Red Eldrazi? How have you been doing with it? Maybe we can get some of his thoughts about how it does against the meta. So yeah, he says it's rough against Island Walk. Eye of Ugin Ban hits it pretty hard. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed those 2 matches against Blue-Red Eldrazi. This is my friend Mark. I really enjoy playing against him and my friend Rich, who you guys have met before in other videos, because they're both pretty skillful players, and definitely much more skillful than random cockatrice players. So Mark says he doesn't know, he hasn't played it much, feels it does well against what Rich had, which was like Scape Shift and Grixis Tezzeret, I think. So thanks again for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. See you later.